Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to look at the Jenssen collapse. Now, the official narrative you've probably heard is, a classic law firm fraud.
Right. Simple greed.
Exactly. But we're pushing that aside. We're drilling into a much darker counterclaim that this was actually a meticulous, state-sanctioned asset stripping operation.
Orchestrated by the Crown, specifically the Attorney General and the Ministry of Fisheries.
So our mission for this deep dive is to follow the evidence in our source material.
We want to identify the real architecture of this alleged conspiracy, figure out who the victims truly were, and, track where all that stolen money actually ended up.
Okay, so let's get into the players. The official story points the finger at one man, the lawyer, Gerald McKay.
Calls him the rogue mastermind. But the sources we have, they flip that completely. They paint McKay as, more of a respected patsy.
A patsy. So who is really in control?
The firm's trust account manager, a woman named Anna McAllister. The sources identify her as the Crown's operational agent on the inside.
And this is where that double hat anomaly comes in, right?
Exactly. It's just bizarre. On the one hand, she's a high-level government statistician. On the other, she's the one supposedly running the entire fraud at the law firm.
So McKay was just the cover?
The veneer of legitimacy, as the source puts it. He was entrapped, coerced, and used to make the whole thing look like a simple internal crime.
Okay, so if McAllister was a state agent, this couldn't have just been about petty cash. What was the real target? What was the big prize?
Well, the ultimate objective was the Jensen family's deep-sea fishing quotas. Incredibly valuable assets.
And these are probably linked to that whole 1992 Sea Lord settlement context.
Almost certainly. That's where the real wealth was. But the immediate operational goal was simpler, just cash. Seizing cash directly from the family trusts.
So if it wasn't about McKay's personal greed, where did the money go? That's the billion-dollar question. The source calls the whole thing a black operation.
Well, the money's movement was clever. It was layered.
Huh?
First, the funds were laundered through the accounts of a totally innocent family, the Johnstons.
Wait, hold on. An innocent family? They had no idea their accounts were being used.
None at all, according to the documents. They were just a financial pass-through, a conduit, a shield to hide the money's real destination.
Which was where? Where did it finally land?
This is the core of it. The trail leads directly to a clandestine war cache, a slush fund.
Slush fund for what?
To finance the MIPS, the Ministry of Fisheries Investigation and Prosecution Services, their entire 88-man prosecution team.
Aye, that's unbelievable. So you're saying the Jensens were forced to pay for the very state prosecution that was designed to destroy them?
That is the devastating implication, yes. They were funding their own financial annihilation.
Wow. Okay, so if the money is going straight to a government prosecution team, they need a perfect cover story, a huge distraction.
And they engineered one. They created a family civil war. McAllister and McKay apparently fabricated evidence, little whispers here and there, suggesting one of the brothers, Finn, was embezzling from the others.
To incite Jensen versus Jensen?
Exactly. Get them fighting each other, sending millions on lawyers, looking inward. So no one would ever think to look at the external state operation that was actually bleeding them dry.
And the final piece of the cover-up, that was the regulatory audit in 2010.
Precisely. This wasn't a panic moment for McAllister. It was her escape plan. She orchestrated a decoy fraud.
What does that mean?
She created over $1 million in fake, backdated invoices, all pointing to McKay. It was a trap, designed to make sure the auditor found something juicy, McKay's greed, and would stop digging.
So they'd find a crime, just not the real crime.
Perfect, wasn't it? It let McAllister slip away clean and buried the true money trail for good.
And the final lock on the door was judicial. Sealing the court files, redacting the records.
Just sanitizing the historical record permanently.
So what does this all mean then? The big picture.
I mean, it's deeply chilling. If true, it reveals a state willing to weaponize the law itself, to turn the courts into, a theater for distraction, a tool for financially annihilating its own citizens.
And building on that idea of engineering and redaction, it leaves you, the listener, with a final thought to chew on. If a state is willing to build something this complex to cover a crime, how many other tragic family dramas we read about in the history books might actually be something else entirely? Veiled acts of state-sanctioned nullification